Hi, this is Heather Picken, and welcome to the Woman on Fire Entrepreneur Podcast. How to break through anything, become unstoppable, and be profitable. Learn how to align your mind. Yeah, I call that activating your money mojo. Market to your ideal clients and make money doing what you love. Tired of struggling and trying to figure things out? Do you tend to stop when things get tough? Well, I'm here to steer the ship out of the sea of overwhelm so that you can attract money and success in your business now. Grab your favorite beverage, let's fire it up, get inspired, and live life at your highest potential. Here's Heather with her co-host Chihuahua, Frankie Lee. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Woman on Fire Entrepreneur. I am your host, Heather Picken, and if you're new to this show, I want you to jump over to heatherpicken.com and click on blog because you can see us there on video, and I always think that's kind of fun if you're watching that format. You know, we like to be very interactive that way. And as always, if you could rate and review and subscribe to the show either in YouTube or on iTunes. So if you go to my site, that'll take you to YouTube, and go ahead and do that, because my mission is to empower millions of women all over the world to own their power, own their greatness, share their gifts to the world. And I'm so excited and inspired today to share one of my guests, Margie Beiswanger. Now, I hope, Margie, I pronounced your name right, because I think
you
I did 10 times.
You did.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. Yeah, I just never know whose name I'm going to mispronounce there. So, Margie, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me, Heather. It's a delight to be here.
I love that. And, you know, my whole mission is to bring experts around the world to share what they're passionate about, to share, you know, what they know, you know, that actually what they need to do, you know, so that they can help other people, because that's what it's all about, you know, your unique skill set and what you're offering into the world. And so today we're going to be talking about leveraging your expertise with a signature program. So before we dive into that subject, if you could share with our audience a little bit about what you do and how you help people.
I would be happy to. I am a business coach primarily for solopreneurs, and my favorite thing to do is help the people you just talked about. All of us as entrepreneurs get into this because we're passionate about something, and it does not mean we know how to make it profitable. And so my passion is helping solopreneurs with their passion and showing them the ways to leverage their expertise to bring authentic marketing to the marketplace so they can get found and attract their most ideal clients and have a bigger impact in the world while making a good living.
I love that, you know, just the whole idea. And I think people really need to embrace this. It's not about having a get by life. It's about creating whatever your life's mission and purpose is, you know, putting out there into the world, and then being able to monetize it, because money is a good thing. I always say money is a tool, and it gives you those experiences also to empower other people. Because think about it, if you're just doing your business and you're just getting by, and, you know, that's the container in which you're going to, you know, help people, maybe just a couple clients, and then you're frustrated with yourself. However, if you have more money, you know how to monetize your mission, your message will get out there in a bigger way. So I really want to challenge people to think about money as this amazing tool to empower more people and to have those great experiences. And so, Margie, let's dive into this conversation about leveraging your business, creating that signature program. I want to ask you first, for those that don't really understand what a signature program is, what are some of the mistakes that you find business owners, entrepreneurs are making that are service providers that don't have either a program or how they're approaching their services and their offerings?
Yes, that is a great question, because particularly if you're offering a service, right, which is my niche, to help service providers, you think in terms of what we call trading hours for dollars. This is how much it is to work with me. This is how many sessions you get. And I got to tell you, people, if you're listening to this, if you've been on the receiving end of that offer, it's not very exciting. And it doesn't really convey what you're going to help your prospective client with and what's in it for them. All they're going to do is the math for how many sessions it is. Right. And I really think the biggest mistake is thinking that our prospective clients already understand the value that we have to offer. And that is just not true if they have never worked with you or ever worked with your type of service. Coaching is a great example. You know, you don't understand the transformation that can take place if you've never worked with a coach. You might have an idea. But if you can create a signature program that will demonstrate what's in it for the client, what they're going to achieve, what you're going to walk them through, then, as I like to say, they can point their finger and go, that's exactly what I need. And who says that when you say we can work together for 3 months and talk twice a month? You know, who says, oh, that's exactly what I need is to talk to somebody twice a month?
Exactly. And I love that you're bringing that into the conversation, because it's not about your process. It's about the transformation that you're offering, and you're packaging that into a program, a system, you know, because we are order-seeking organisms. We're always looking for a formula on how we can make things better. For example, my boyfriend makes ice cream. He's got all these odd hobbies. And so since I've met him, he's always trying to improve on his dark chocolate whiskey ice cream, you know. So he's like, oh, I need to add some Spanish chocolate to it. I need to do this. And so it's the same thing, you know, with your signature system. And I like what you're saying. I think if we could talk about this a little bit, understanding your value, because, you know, if you don't understand what your value is, then how are people going to, you know, interpret that value? It's going to be a disconnect. It's like when you can own your value, so too the world will understand that, and you'll get paid what you're worth. Yes. And when we can see that value, when we believe it, as you just said, we can convey that, express that. And that is one of those unknowns, those under the radar qualities that is actually attractive to your ideal clients. That's what makes them click with you versus clicking away and hiring someone else or looking somewhere else. And then if you have a consultation or make an offer to someone and you don't feel that confidence inside that this is what I'm here to do and I know I can help you, they cannot feel confident to invest. Yeah. And having that program shows you, I've had client after client tell me, oh my gosh, I see now how much I have to offer. I have never felt this confident. And it changes everything. It changes all of the dynamics that build the foundation for your business. Because my other favorite thing to do is show my clients how once we create what I like to say is your first signature program, you can see how to replicate that. If you change your niche, if you develop something new, you can use that template to demonstrate the value you're providing, show people what's in it for them, exactly what they're going to experience, so that they can say, yes, I want in on that. And you can build an entire business model that will leverage your time and energy as you create these programs and work with people, and then branch out into working with groups and all kinds of fun things. I love that. And I really want people to get that. If you don't have a signature program, understand you first need to understand your value, what Margie was saying. I've been saying this all along, and having it in a way where people understand what you're doing, instead of here's a package of sessions, selling these for so many hours, for, you know, so many months. That's not going to cut it. But also understanding the value, if you don't know how to do this for yourself, you need to invest money into mentors and coaches that understand the process. Because a lot of times, Margie, I'm sure people come to you. I know they've come to me when they're like, well, you know, at first they're like, well, that's a lot of money. And then I communicate to the value, like, well, wait a minute, this is a system that's duplicatable, where once you learn it, like you said, multiple niches, you know, expand your business. So once you have the formula, it's like rinse, lather, and repeat. You know, it's really just, it really is simple, but I think people make it complicated. Would you agree? Yes. And you hit the nail on the head when you said, if you don't know how to do this, too many entrepreneurs are afraid to invest in their own business. And I can already hear some people out there shaking their head saying, not me, I've overinvested.
and I haven't gotten that return on my investment. And I would challenge those of you who are in that boat to say, honestly, have you applied what you invested in? Have you worked through it? And if you haven't, maybe it's not you. Maybe it's not what you invested in. Maybe it's simply, it wasn't a good fit for you. It wasn't what you needed at that time. And there is so much power to having a mentor, a business coach who can work with you personally in your business and help you do those things with ease and joy, instead of cranking along and feeling like with every step forward you take two back. And if you could figure this out, you could make a difference, but you just keep flitting to the next thing, hoping that's going to be the answer.
Absolutely. So, I'm glad that you're mentioning that. Yeah, because it's kind of like, oh, the shiny object syndrome. Oh, that person's getting on the magic pill. And it's like, if you just really were to work with someone, follow what they say. Because as you know, Margie, it is the implementation. Like, you've got to implement. And if you have the mindset of going, well, I invested all this money, I'm all in debt. Like, I was really in debt when I started my business. And because I wasn't going to allow that, to stop me, I wouldn't be where I was today. So I really want to get people to get that. And I kind of have like a quick little funny story just as a demonstration. So a couple years ago, I invested in this program. It was like $25,000. A lot of people would say, wow, that's a lot of money. Some people are like, that's not, depending on, how much money you made. And so, was it okay? It was okay. It was a little bit more, it was a remedial for me, but here's what I learned, talk about the golden nugget of information. I truly believe I was in that program because at the time I was engaged to someone, and I went to one of those trainings and realized, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be engaged with this person. So if we would have got married, that's my $25,000 divorce, right? Most divorces are a lot cheaper than that, but or more expensive.
That was your $25,000 aha.
Right. And so instead of beating myself up, I allowed myself to liberate my mind. So the people that are watching this right now and listening to what you're saying, I want you guys to get this. I don't care how much you've invested. You can't let that stop you. And you have to transform the mindset of, I'm in debt, or I invested, that didn't work, therefore I'm not going to do it again. Like, it is part of your business evolution, people.
Yes.
So I'm calling everyone out. I'm calling you, not you, but you that's watching or listening. So Margie, let's go through, if you could, maybe some of the steps or what you need to have in a signature program. And here's the key, that actually is going to sell.
Yes. Isn't that the most important thing, ultimately? I actually believe in setting a strong foundation, which will make creating your program easier. So the very first thing I like to do is tap in with my clients. Do they really know who they're here to serve? And specifically, can they see and feel that group of people? Do they know them? So that when they are talking to that group, there's a communication there's a connection. And do we know for sure what they not only are, staying up at night worrying about what they want to achieve, but what are they willing to invest in that? What will they pay for that solution? What is it that they really want that they will invest in? And if you guys hear nothing else from this today, this conversation between Heather and I, it's that. So many people will say, oh, but I know this is what they need, or this is my passion. That's part of the equation, but it's not the entire equation. You have to tap into that sweet spot between what your passion is, who your ideal people are, and what it is that they want in terms of a solution that they will invest in, so that we can then create that solution in a way that meets their needs. And when you do that well, you are highlighting your expertise. It's easy and joyful for you. It's because you're using your gifts and your talents, and they are achieving the results they want to achieve much more easily, sometimes even quicker than they ever thought possible, because the steps you've created build on who they are, what they're struggling with. You understand them so well. You've put together this solution that is just what they need. And we all know what that feels like when you get something and say, oh my gosh, I finally get it. This is the right thing. So Absolutely. That's where I start. I feel like you really have to get that, what I call the sweet spot. Then we can build a program. I have a background in, academia. I love organization. I love training. I love teaching. So helping people understand how to create the program itself, step by step, with the aspects that will help their clients is one of my gifts and is a no-brainer. But again, it all starts with, are we building the right program that, as you said a minute ago, will sell? Once we get into developing the program, it really comes down to looking at your ideal client and thinking for yourself how you've helped them before, what has worked well, and looking at a logical progression, and definitely thinking about what is it they need to know, right? What do you think is non-negotiable that has to go into this program? Just like I said a minute ago, those foundation steps, those are non-negotiable for me. You may come to me to have me help you create your program, but I'm here to tell you, if we back up a couple of steps and do that work, creating the program is going to be much easier. So your signature program is what you do with your ideal clients that gets them where they want to go, that utilizes your expertise, your talent, your gifts, and proceeds in a logical manner, because as you said earlier, Heather, that's how our brains work. We're looking for structure. It gives us comfort, it gives us security, and quite frankly, your clients are much more likely to take the next step and do that implementation when they can see the path they're following as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's all of those things.
I love that. I love what you're saying, and I definitely agree, because it's like if you take two people, hey, I'm just here, you get this many sessions in this package for a couple of months, whereas if you said, hey, I could solve your problem and I've got the system to take you through that, it's a totally different feeling and liberation in that person's mind that can start to visualize what you're telling them, as opposed to charging this much. And when you agree that you can charge more, when you've got something that is ordered in such a way that you're taking people through, because I think people, I know if people see the value of something that is a step-by-step system, they're going to invest in it. People will pay for what they value. Does it, a lot of times people say, well, will people really buy this? Well, if they value it and it solves their problem, people always have the money for what they value. 2008, when the stock market crashed, I was in Apple store. I'm like, people are whipping out their credit cards to buy these Apple products. Why? Because people value that. Yeah.
And they can't live without it. So it goes on their priority list. You are absolutely right. Right when you were saying, we could work together for a couple of months, or I have got a solution for you. Right there, people, that is night and day. If you tell me we could work for a few months together and I can help you with that problem, we can look at your weight loss goals, and I've got a lot of tools and things that we can do, your mind is probably going, all right, I guess I could give that a try. If I say you have struggled with weight loss and you have tried a million things, and I am an expert weight loss coach, and in my program, we are going to look at these aspects that you've covered before in a new light. We're going to do A, B, and C, and we're going to do it in this order, and you're going to lose the weight. How different does that feel?
Right.
And you are showing your expertise. And we want that. We want to pay someone to be an authority, to be a guide. That's what we're looking for when we're seeking help. So having your program laid out puts you in that position right away of authority and expertise, which definitely increases your value, increases the chances that people will sign up to work with you, and actually benefits you in the long run, because you'll get known. When you're seen as an authority, your peers, your colleagues will seek you out, and they will want you to participate in things. And that's another way you're leveraging your time, because of your signature program. Absolutely. And being seen as an expert.
I love that. And as you were talking about that, what comes to mind is not only you're having an order, you have a structure, you're showing person the value, but your confidence goes up. Your confidence skyrockets, because you come from that place of certainty. How many people out there are not confident in what they're offering because, they don't have a signature program?
Right. And the client is leading the sessions, right? And they don't feel that they're in charge. And almost every client I've worked with on their signature program comes to me and says one of two things. Either, I'm not sure what I would even put into a program, so I'm kind of worried. Or they say, I've got all kinds of stuff, but I don't understand how it would fit together. Or until the client asks me for something, they don't see the progression, the natural progression, or they don't even see what they're worth. And when they are done, without fail, they are over the moon with all the stuff they have just now discovered about themselves and everything they have to offer. And 9 times out of 10, I have to help them pull things out of the program because they're going to overwhelm the client.
Right.
Which is, hint, hint, why I say your first signature program. Because most likely, you've got way more content and knowledge and tools at your disposal. And we are probably going to end up creating multiple programs because you can't put it all in one, or you'll overwhelm your clients.
That is a good point that you brought up, because an overwhelmed mind will not do all the things that are necessary. So that old saying, less is actually better, which is so true, because you put on, if you put out too much information, people can't implement all that. They might be on step 1 and you're like, you have 20 steps with this program, and it's like information overload. And I've seen people do that. I haven't mentored them, but I've seen that. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a train wreck waiting to happen. This is this is going to turn people off.
Yes. And one of 2 things happens in those situations, besides the fact that they're not making progress. They either get disappointed in themselves and think something is wrong with them because everyone else has been able to do this program or work with this coach and get results. So they either walk away with even less confidence, or they walk away feeling cheated or bad about what they've invested in. And that does not happen when you put together a signature program that is tailored to your ideal client and you accept into your program ideal clients. Because that's another thing I'm a big advocate of.
Oh, let's talk about that. I was hoping you would bring that up, because I'm going to get on my bandwagon here and just share some of my stories. And then I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
With the ideal clients, it's not about, okay, I'm going to sign you up because I just want some money.
Right.
If you approach it that way, from my experience, you will drag people in. You will create people that are a pain in the butt to work with, and then will say that your program doesn't work because they're too freaking lazy. They don't want to do the work. And I have had to learn that lesson. I would rather say no to someone that's not a fit, refer them to someone else, send them on my merry way, instead of dragging them in, dragging them around, telling them when they just don't have the bandwidth. It's like my ideal clients are super implementers. They might not be very organized. They might be in their way mentally with some blocks, and that's fine, but they're not going to cry and complain about strategies that they need to implement, and
they're ready.
Learn that. Right. And they're also healthy too. So they're not people that have all these health issues. I also find too, someone comes into my world, I experienced this in the past, and they're sick and they have all these issues. They don't have a balanced mind. Therefore they can't implement, what I'm telling them to do that I know is going to help them to build a 6- and 7-figure business.
Right. The like you said, the bandwidth isn't there. The priority cannot be there. The energy isn't there. I tell my clients all the time, every time you say no to a less than ideal client, you are creating the space for an ideal client to come. If we fill our calendars with less than ideal clients, when that ideal client comes, where are they going to fit? So you cannot say yes to mediocre, crossing your fingers that you're going to make enough money. That is not the way to do it. And you are right. They're either not going to be happy with us, or they're not going to be happy with themselves. We're back to that scenario I just described, where they either feel worse about themselves because they couldn't do it, or they feel bad about your program and the investment they made. And I don't want to be that in anyone's life. There's enough of that going around.
Oh, yeah. I wish I would have known that. I was just in a different headspace, freaking out about money, fearing. And if I just stood true in my own power and said, no, this person isn't a good fit, I wouldn't have had to go through that lesson. And I'm sure you probably experienced some similar things. That's what makes you a great coach and teacher and leader. We learn, and we can empower other people to say, listen, you don't have to go through that. And just to keep I say, I have the word nexting, just keep nexting in your mind.
I like that. Yes.
in your mind, that because that person's a good fit, don't try to create something when that person is just not a good fit for you.
Right. And you can feel it if you pay attention. And I would say that's the difference for you and I. Yes, we learned it the hard way. We have experienced it. The key is we learned and we didn't keep repeating it, right? We saw, oh my gosh, there was this red flag, and I went ahead anyway, and it was like slogging uphill the whole time with that client. Or in the end, they petered out and didn't even finish, or whatever the case might be. And when I noticed that again, or felt red flags again, I've told my clients this as well. I don't even always make an offer on a consultation.
Right.
If I just can tell this is not the right time for them, or I'm not what they need, or they're not really ready to dig in and do this, we'll have a conversation and then we will part ways. And there's only been a couple of times where I have not transitioned into making an offer that person on the phone has asked me. They know it's not right either. So we don't need to coerce or force anything. You want to be confident that you're creating space for that nexting, as you said, for that next ideal client who could be right around the corner.
Absolutely. And I think that's going to really help people that are listening to this. They're like, you don't have to hit the home runs. It's all about getting the quality so that you can work harmoniously in your business and not have to deal, with these clients that come from a place of entitlement. It's just, you get into legal issues and
we don't need any of that. Why be self-employed if you're not going to enjoy working with your clients every day? You might as well go to a job and be miserable. I mean, do not recreate that for yourself, right?
Absolutely. And I don't know what your philosophy around this, but I know when I was growing in my business, then I would get these clients like, they're really not implementing, we're working on a lot of mindset stuff and it just doesn't feel like a good fit. I'm like, you know what? This really means that I need to raise my rates, and so that's one of the things that I would do anytime I'm like, there's so much value that I'm offering these clients, yet I don't feel like they're up to speed of who I really want to work with. So I was wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Oh, totally. If you're not getting the right clients, that's right, most likely. And it's nothing against those clients that we're talking about. But they're not the right fit for us, and we're not actually what they need to succeed right now. So it's like the hurdle bar or the whatever is too low, and too many people can jump over that, and then they just peter out. They don't, just because they could jump over the bar doesn't mean they're ready to run the next leg of the race. And when you increase that, then you are getting people by increasing your fees, clearly stating what it's like to work with you. And that's another thing I take the time to do. I make sure people know what I am here to help hold them accountable for, because I am an accountability partner, but I'm not going to do it for you. And if you can't be a partner, then we're not a good fit.
Right. It's so true, because it's like you're looking at how people are showing up. For example, like with my business model, if I'm working with someone at the highest level one-on-one, I don't like to work with startups because, for me, I'm working with a different high level energy. So they've got to be making 100,000 or more in their business. Whereas I've got other lower entry programs, group programs, people not making as much, but they still have some traction. I would rather refer those people to my clients that are working with startups or someone else so that they can get the support, because it's not necessarily a good fit.
Right. I totally agree. Yeah. And again, we can't have the bigger impact on the world if we keep working with the people who are not ideal for us and we're not ideal for them. And we are here to make a positive impact. Every single person I interact with in the entrepreneurial world is here because we care and we want to make an impact. There's nobody who says, I think I'll become self-employed. I've always wanted to learn marketing skills, or I've always wanted to run. That's just not who we are, particularly as service providers. So you've got to let your passion shine. And in order to do that, you have to learn some of these business skills, which is why you need a business coach, to learn those things sooner rather than later, with more ease and flow and less pain, and to build your confidence and your skill set and your systems and get things in place so that when those ideal clients come, you're ready, right?
I love it.
You have what they need, you know how to implement it, and you can help them implement. And that, to me, is how everything ripples outward in a positive manner.
I love that. It's such an important conversation. And there's one more thing I want to bring up before we kind of wrap this up. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned in this beginning, and I really speak to this as well, is being authentic. Now, I want to talk about what being authentic is and what it is not. So for me, when I look at people that are looking at, well, that person created 6 and 7 figures, so I need to do exactly what they're doing. It's not exactly my style, but you know what? If it's not broke, let's not try to fix it. So then they take on that energy of that particular person. They try to put it into place. They might get some traction. But what I find happens is they just kind of start sounding like the same, like everyone else, particularly if it's not who they really are in their message. So what are your thoughts about that?
You nailed it. I feel exactly the same way. Too many entrepreneurs are spending time saying, that worked for so-and-so, so I'm going to do that. And I'm here to tell you, it is not about what so-and-so did. It's looking at who you are authentically, learning what your core message is, what your work is that you're here to do, and who you're here to talk to, and how to do that in a way that is true to you, because that's what allows your ideal clients to perk up and hear you when you speak, right? I like to give the mall analogy, having grown up in a mall. I mean, was a big deal. I don't know that malls are such a big deal now, but that was the thing. We went to the mall on Saturday, right?
Absolutely.
And it would be crowded, and somebody would say, Mom, right? And all these moms would turn around. It's very general. You can't just call out into the world, Mom. They're going to look for a second, and when they don't see their kid or they realize their kid is next to them, they move on. You call someone by name, only those few people will turn around. And our message needs to be the same way. Mm-hmm. Many times, speaking of the startup people, they're afraid to narrow their message. They're afraid to show who they really are. They're afraid to take a stand. They're afraid to leave anyone out because they think they have to take all comers to get a groundswell, to get a movement going. And it's actually the exact opposite. You need a few key people who hear you and get you, and they will be your best raving fans in the world, and you're going to have success with them. They're going to love you. It just, again, it continues to ripple outward. So to me, the authentic marketing that I help my clients with is helping them discover, how do we get your message out in a way that feels good to you, is in alignment with you integrity-wise, your core values, so that, first of all, you can actually do the marketing, because that's another thing. Many entrepreneurs don't even market as they should. So, and then they wonder why nobody knows about them. Well, you have to get the word out there. And you want to do it in a way that is authentic to yourself, that you can feel good about, so that you can do it, and so that the people you're attracting with that message are the people that you want to work with. And to me, that is the basis for all good marketing that doesn't feel sleazy, doesn't feel spammy, doesn't feel copycat.
Right. And you will find, at least I know, it's like if you're really authentic, that's how you do stand out. And it is about turning and tuning out the noise that is in the marketplace, because it can literally what the word I was going to say, stop you in your tracks.
Yes.
It'll stop you in your tracks. Couldn't figure out the word I wanted to say. And you start comparing yourself to other people, beating yourself up when, like, wait a minute, if you're a leader in your business, you just got to own it. You got to own who you are. You got to have your system, like you've been talking about in this conversation.
Yes. It's so true. I mean, it's just mind-blowing how a new entrepreneur or someone who's not getting the success they want it's mind-blowing how they almost always, left to their own devices, are doing the opposite of what they need to be doing. They're generally trying to be more generic, more appealing to everybody. They do all these things that feel intuitive but are actually counterproductive and counterintuitive. And I know it's scary, but again, it's another reason to have someone in your corner like Heather or me or whoever your next business coach is meant to be, because it is hard to do on your own.
Right.
I also think really being able to put your authenticity out there on your own, particularly for women, I will say, as entrepreneurs, can be a difficult hurdle to get over by yourself. And so if that's something, someone who's listening has had experience with, I want you to know you're not alone, right? I mean, it's not easy for women to toot their own horn, to say, no, I don't believe in that, or I don't, we just haven't really operated like that in our society. So it's okay. But you want to look at doing it differently.
Yeah,
let your authenticity shine.
Yeah. And not to be afraid. I appreciate that message, is not to be afraid. You're not alone. You need to invest in your inspiration, get a coach or a mentor that can navigate that for you and really help you to see who you are. Like, I believe every woman out there has a wealth potential that is locked up inside of them, and it just needs to be brought out. You need to own it. And you need to market and package that in a way, like you were saying, Margie, that is unique and authentic. And once you do, you'll feel confident. You can put yourself out there in the world. And Margie, wow, the time has flown by so fast today. I just love this message. So before we leave here, is there any last words that you want to share? And where can people learn more about you?
Yes, thank you. My website is transformyourbrilliance.com, and I have a free template for creating your signature program that I would like to offer your listeners, and they can go to transformyourbrilliance.com/Heather-leverage. And that's going to be posted with this recording, so they can opt in for that template. And I've got other free resources available, so help yourself. I'm here to help you build your business so that your brilliance can shine even brighter. That's my mission.
I love that, Margie. And for our audience today, wherever you're listening or watching this, if you go in the show notes, there'll be that link that you can just click on, and that will take you directly to Margie's gift. So Margie, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you, Heather. It was such a joy to talk with you. I love it. Thank you.
My pleasure. And I just want to leave everyone with a message today is, I love this quote by the Greeks, and that's know thyself, be thyself, love thyself. And it really speaks to this message today. It's about being authentic, own your power, own your value, own your worth, and create something magnificent, because you're here to do extraordinary things. Until next time, this is Heather Picken. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
So if you found this show to be helpful, please hashtag WOFE, that stands for Woman on Fire Entrepreneur, and subscribe to this show in iTunes and leave me a review. I want to know how these shows have helped you. I also want to know the number one thing that you're struggling with the most in your business. Every week, I give away complimentary sessions to help you get it clear on your next steps and to activate your money mojo. You can learn more about my work if you go to www.heatherpicken.com.